Well, welcome everybody. Good afternoon. So this is the first time I do this talk live in front of real people. So I'm excited. I love The Simpsons, and I usually try to force Simpsons memes in every single talk I can possibly force them. But has any one of you seen this episode where Reverend Lovejoy's wife goes crazy over something and she screams, "Won't somebody please think of the children?" It's the same thing. Won't somebody please think of the devs or us developers, nerds, people in technology? Call it whatever you want. First of all, I'd like to, publicly give some massive kudos to Native Script View. I'm a big fan, and also to the people who are working with it. Also, thank you, Jen, for everything you do as well. Thank you, Igor, wherever you are. You're in our hearts. Like, really, thank you. It's awesome, and I'm a big fan. Maybe because I'm all crazy about Vue, and I can't hide that I'm a little bit biased. Anyway, so the title of my talk, I was going to start speaking Spanish right now. The title of my talk is Debunking Myths, and I'm going to be talking about something maybe non-technical, but very important, not only in the technical industry, but everywhere. And I'd like you to look at this picture, right? By looking at this picture, you would think this cute little puppet knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, after all, he's got a tie. He looks kind of happy, to say, yeah, nice chap. And his paws are like nicely posed on that keyboard. And, you know, yeah, lovely, right? If in reality we didn't know that dogs cannot perform these things, just taking this picture at face value would say, he's cracking it, right? And I want you to think about it, to have that thought sitting with you, and think that sometimes when you see your mates, or the person sitting next to you, if you work in technology or in any other industry, they might know what, they might know, or they might not know what they're doing. Anyway, but let's actually start with something. Before I introduce myself, and I always do this, I can assure you, definitely, that I'm not a top totty, and I'm not the cream of the crop. That's something I know. But before, so yeah, that's the easy part. To know what you're not good at, to know what you're not. But how about owning your game? What are you? I'll share my story as I present myself, and I'm going to own this time. It's actually the first time I'm going to do this live. So yeah, that's me. I'm 35 years old. I am a self-taught developer. I made a major career change. Major. And, you know, I had to rub shoulders with engineers, I don't know, people who have bigger brains and sometimes bigger heads. You know, all kinds of amazing people, and I was in a position where I had to lead them. And it was overwhelming for me to say, hey, you know what, I'm chief DevOps at this company, and I have a team of, I don't know, 10 DevOps, 10 sysadmins, 10 developers, whatnot. I'm supervising people that probably have a master's degree in computer science, and I just learn in the street. You know what I mean? So it was overwhelming to the point where it was difficult for me to even present myself. Having an official title, I'm so excited I can't even speak English. You guys are awesome. But now it's time to get rid of all that, you know, and just own it. My name is Diana Rodriguez. That's how you can find me on Twitter. Cotufa is Venezuelan slang for popcorn, and 82 is my year of birth. I'm owning the age, you know. Yeah, my first language is actually Spanish, which is really funny because, yeah, I'm Venezuelan. Anyway, I am a senior DevOps and full stack developer at this dot, and it took me so long to be able to say this comfortably, not feeling guilty for not having studied any of this, you know. I did a couple courses, I did a bootcamp because I thought, well, I need structure, because after all this experimenting and while learning, I might as well do it, right? It won't hurt me. And if I have to start from scratch, I'll do it. It's great. Well, so yeah, that's this dot. I'm also a NativeScript View ambassador for this year. Yes. And I learned a lot, and I'm a groupie. I can't hide it. I'll keep shouting, you know, and singing praises throughout my talks. It's a common practice. I'm in the autistic spectrum, and when I become fixated with something that is actually really good, I repeat it all the time. That's how I learn. I'm also the worldwide community organizer at View Vixens, and we're doing some awesome things for women and those who identify as such. May I throw another rose at what we're doing. We are helping women change the world. And this sounds like big deal, but yeah, it is a big deal. We need everybody's help because we're not trying to isolate ourselves. We're actually inserting all these powerful women into a global ecosystem so we don't have to, you know, make any differences. So you're more than welcome to check our website and see what we do. So, well, I presented myself. Why not carry on owning this game of, you know, talking about the things I can do or who I am, right? I'm also a tropical gem with a funky accent. How about that? I have two quotes to share with you. One comes from a random woman, and I actually had it framed in my house because I like to see things that actually motivate me to get productive because, you know, life as a developer or even doing infrastructure can be a bit hard. Everything breaks and you're like, okay, I give up. Anyway, and the other one I'll tell you. So the first one, easy. Self-esteem is as important for our general well-being as legs to a table. It is essential for our physical and mental health and for our happiness. Have you ever pictured what a table would be like without legs? It's just a board on the floor, right? So, well, if that's for a table, imagine us, people like us, right? Would be constantly on the floor, right? And the second quote, it's interesting because it's from a religious book. So I grew up in a very, very religious family. They're all Mormons, bless them. They're awesome. But this, I adapted it to my circumstances and turned out to be cool. So it goes, and see that all these things are done in wisdom and order. May I stop? Wisdom. We need knowledge. Order. Obviously, we need to be organized. For it is not requisite that a developer, or say any person, should run faster than they have strength. And again, it is expedient that they should be diligent because we have to make an effort every day, right? That thereby they might win the prize. And I don't know about you guys, but my prize comes at the end of a month. And I want to make sure I win it. It's hard earned, you know? Then I just go and spend it like Kanye West, you know? Like a boss. I earn it like a mule, spend it like a boss. I apologize. Well, so, thank you. Therefore, all things must be done in order. And that is a word that is constantly repeated. Order. I wonder why. I identify with this meme so much. So much. It's like me every day. And again, it's this nice dog. it's all primed up. You know, that's me in an office, you know, looking at my computer, sometimes just staring blank at my terminal and going, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just still trying and see if I make it happen. People, I've been doing, okay, so I started coding when I was 12, right? I started working in development in the year 2000. So it's what, 18 years? 18 years of amazing. And it doesn't, inside joke, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this for, we still have days like these, and it is okay. And that's what I want to share with you. It is okay to not have a clue of what you're doing. Do you relate to this image? Like, see that they all think the same. All these people really seem to have it together, and I still have no idea what's going on. And this happens to me. I work with awesome people. I am friends with awesome people. Like, people, I've been on speaking in conferences and doing a massive road trip with Jen Looper. And I see, sorry for putting you in the spot. There's also Tara, there's also Chris Fritz, you know, from the Vue.js core team. And I see them, and sometimes I think, what the heck am I doing here? Like, they all seem to be so amazingly smart. Like Shiva, like, God, this kid, he's so much younger than I am, and I think, bloody hell, like, really? Like, what have I done with my life? You know, sometimes I quote our friend Natalia Tepluhina, our CTO, who, by the way, is a walking brain. She says, sometimes I just feel like I should just go out and sell cheese. And I feel the same. And it doesn't matter. I mean, and I swear, I bet that, I don't know, maybe Jen looks at Natalia and she thinks, what am I doing here? This kid does it. And then I'm looking up at Jen and saying, oh, she's the goddess. I want to be like her. I'm already grown up, but, you know, it's like, when I'm with her, I feel privileged because I feel like, well, maybe if we hang out enough, something good will rub off on me, you know, even the beauty, I hope. Well, this makeup is Sephora, courtesy of Jen Looper. But yeah, that's something that happens. I'm going to give you a few alarm signs and see if you identify, if you answer yes to any of these questions, we got to talk. So I'm going to, you know, tune in the voice and say, do you try to work on your own, avoiding any kind of collaboration except for the most superficial? Do you avoid exposing yourself to feedback and constructive criticism? I used to have issues with code reviews. Who doesn't? Because I felt ashamed. I even did it with, you know, my friends at Vue Vixens, and I'd be like, oh, don't look at this code yet, it's not perfect. No need to. Do you often carry on working, overlooking a problem that could have been solved quicker if you just communicated? I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to tell you that one time I came up with an idea of what seemed like a good solution for something we were doing as a team. So the whole team was counting on me to onboard them into something I was also new, you know, in, like, doing. And, yeah, and one day, thank you, yeah, you remember, right? I kind of cried to him a little bit about it. But one day I was having breakfast and I'm like, okay, yes, I'm going to present this repo to these awesome people in this awesome team who are counting on me. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh, chucks, okay, this is not working and it won't work. What do? Option A, I tell them, and gee, guys, we got to start over, but we got to do it together because I'm starting from scratch too. Or two, I keep my mouth shut and overwork myself and get frustrated and try to work on something without any help and miserably fail. And even worse, I upset my team because they have an expectation. And because I don't communicate, they can't see that I'm actually struggling. You know what I mean? It was easier to do it than to think about it. And I loved it because it was a great experience for me. I told him, I'm sorry, I took the wrong approach. This thing will never work. We have to start from scratch. And then our awesome leader said, let's do this. We're going to make it work. Anyway, are you defensive to criticism or have a hard time receiving compliments about your work? And this might lead to creating super high and maybe impossible expectations. And this also can lead to self-destructive perfectionism, which also may lead to, and drum roll, this is the worst of them all, overworking yourself, doing lots of overtime unnecessarily, which could also lead to a martyr complex. You know what? That has happened to me, and it was a difficult thing as a team lead. Having a great kid with a great attitude who burnt himself out to ashes. He'd do 18-hour days, and he wasn't performing as he should have, or, you know, just minimum things. And he'd get really upset. He'd say, but I've been working for 2 days. I didn't go eat, I didn't sleep, I didn't take a shower, and I haven't brushed my teeth in 48 hours. And you're blaming me for these results. And when you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, I'm not blaming you, but you're silly for doing this to yourself. It's much easier just to say, oh, I need help. I need a hand. I don't know. Things that should be simple for us to acknowledge and say, such as, thank you. I did put a lot of effort. When someone says, hey, you're doing a great job. Oh, yes, I am. Thank you. Has any one of you said that from the bottom of your heart? Because last week someone said to me, hey, that was a great app. And I said, no, it's nothing. Bullcrap. I swear to God, I spent 2 weeks working like endless days and nights, you know, for that application. And someone complimented me and I didn't even take praise. Why? We got to stop this crap. And I'm sure many of you have related to these questions. And what I'm going to say next is the Bible according to Diana Rodriguez. You may take it or not. This worked for me, and this helped me, and it helps me because I still fight the imposter syndrome. I still struggle with this after so many years, after so many days, after speaking before, I don't know, a lot of people. I gave a bloody awesome talk on deployment before 500 people, like a boss, you know, and that was my game. And the next day I checked out because I had to talk to 15 people. You know what I mean? The struggle is real. So why making our lives harder when we can actually enjoy what we do, right? And get paid for it. So yeah, to all this, please take it away. That's me actually shooing away the bacon-washed bourbon from North Carolina. Whew, I still have side effects from it. Permanently. So my advice, quick and easy. Avoid obsessive perfectionism. There's no need to present your work to God. Learn to evaluate yourself in a realistic way. And I'll take myself as a good example. It is impossible that I want to appear to you as a sports person. Do you know what I mean? I could probably be a wrestler. But you know the point? I'm a model for slim people's clothes. I'm evaluating myself the way I think I am. Do you know what I mean? Let's be real. I know, we all know our flaws. Are we going to dwell Or are we going to try to turn these things into a positive outcome, you know, something? So I know that I'm really good at back-end and infrastructure. So I'm a DevOps and back-end developer who turned front-end thanks to our Lord and Savior Vue.js. So I know that out of this 80% I know of all these things, my 20% in Vue is decent enough for me to give talks. You know what I mean? I'm real about it. But if you still want to hire me for front-end, I'll be able to. I'll learn whatever you want. Talk to others. Discuss, ask, complain sometimes. Why not? Keep on learning. I like to be in the loop, you know. Look for a mentor. It's always good to have someone to lean on, you know. When it comes to NativeScript, I ask Jen, I ask Shiva. Shiva actually has given me some badass lessons. If I have any Vue.js question, I ask my friends at Vue.js, or I don't know, any Slack community. Teach. Help others. And this, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You'd be surprised about how much you actually do know. If you can explain this to someone who doesn't know anything about it, you can do it. Much better than what you think. Please accept and believe compliments for your work. Own it. It is important. You need to record this message that what you're doing is good. And if someone tells you that you're good, I mean, I don't think there's a good reason to contradict that, right? So do take compliments. See failures as a way to learn success. And my favorite one, there's no wrong on saying I don't know, and there's no wrong on saying no. Don't overdo it. Ooh, I got excited. So yeah, also this is, you know, badass. Do not glorify burnout culture. You don't need to overexert yourself. To do what? Will any money compensate your health? The time you spend on doing things? Is it really worth it? The best way to avoid errors in code is to stop when it's not fun anymore. If you're blocked, don't force yourself. Go out, have a life, and come back to your project with a fresh mind. Also, and this is a personal thing, who killed a junior dev? That's BS. Junior debt for life, that's not true. So hashtag BS. There's no such thing as junior debt for me. We are all constantly learning. And I mean, I guess some people like to be called senior, but you know what I mean. So yeah, there's that dog again. Just to remind you, I still have no idea what I'm doing. It's my favorite meme. You see it in moonwalks. Very quickly, the real developer syndrome, horrible. Have you ever heard of a cook who thinks they have to sleep in their oven to be a better cook? No, really, because I don't understand why some people will say, well, if you don't have your computer stitched to your arm, you're not a real developer. You're not a real developer if you're not constantly thinking code. I'm going to excuse myself for what I'm going to say, and I'll try to keep it appropriate as much as I can. But think about it, like, thinking coding 24/7? What about when you're in the toilet? Like, do you also think code? It's like, whoops, I just deployed this massive application. It was a grand job, you know? How about even in more private moments. It's like we just trigger the CI and we're testing if this build is going to pass. And I think, for the look of it, it is going in. Eh? You know what I mean? I don't think... So let's just scratch that idea that you need to be constantly thinking about code or about technology to be a real developer. No need to. But I like to make jokes about it. Having said this, I want to remind you something very important. My dad always used to say it, worst question is the one you never ask. So there's no such thing as a stupid question. Even I have to correct myself. I've actually reached out to some folks and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I have a really stupid question, but do we need that semicolon in there? And what if I don't know it? Do I get penalized for not knowing? Does that make me less cool if I don't know? Does that make you a bad developer? You imagine this, it's like, oh no, he used brackets. They're a terrible person. Does that make any sense to you? And well, you know, there's always a good excuse to sneak in a potty parrot, you know, in every slide. Yeah, people, it's time to stop the bullcrap. Own it. Praise yourself. Totally. I love these girls. Totally, praise yourself. Take compliments. Own your title. Reward yourself for your efforts. And talking about rewarding ourselves for our efforts, bloody hell, never forget. Never forget. Reward yourself. Is it too expensive? Expense it. You're worth it. You're doing a good job. If you're learning, you're doing a good job. If you failed, you're doing a good job. If you're new, you're doing a good job. Today, TJ Van taught me a really good lesson. I approached him and his boss, and because I had a very short period of time to talk to them, I said, okay, 3 things. First of all, you're awesome. And then I carried on with the rest. So yeah, we all have something that makes us unique and special, not only as people, but in this industry. And if we bring our bests, our knowledge, our attitude, our strengths into work, we may have a good day. So people, have a nice day. Thank you.